Imagine a man, hated, hunted, broken, and yet unshaken. A man who once believed the world was against him. A man who wore anger like armor and pain like skin. But then, he found truth. He found Islam, and he never looked back. This isn't just history. This is a storm, a fire. A man who faced America with nothing but truth on his tongue. This is the journey of Malcolm X. Born in 1925, Malcolm Little entered a world that had no mercy for the color of his skin. He didn't get to be innocent. As a child, he saw his home burned by the Ku Klux Klan. Not once, not twice, but again and again his family was targeted, hated for simply existing. His father, Earl Little, a passionate preacher and a follower of Marcus Garvey, dared to speak truth. He preached dignity, independence, and unity for Black Americans. That boldness cost him his life. One day, his dead body was found crushed under a streetcar. Police called it an accident. Malcolm always knew it was murder. He was just 6 years old. His mother, Louise, tried to protect her children. But how does a single Black woman fight a system built to break her? She slipped into depression, then madness. The state took her away. The children were scattered like seeds in the wind, separated, fostered, forgotten. And Malcolm, he learned something early. If you're Black in America, no one is coming to save you. By his teens, Malcolm drifted. He was brilliant but beaten down. He moved to Boston, then Harlem. There he became Detroit Red, a hustler, a gambler, a man surviving in a world that wanted him caged or dead. He wore sharp suits, straightened his hair with chemical lies so he'd look more respectable. But inside he was drowning. In 1946, he was caught and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Now pause here. This could have been the end. Another Black man lost in the system. But prison did what the streets could not. It slowed him down. It made him think, reflect, question. Behind those cold bars, Malcolm met fellow inmates who introduced him to the Nation of Islam. He scoffed at first, but then something stirred. He started reading, and he didn't stop. He read dictionaries, histories, scriptures. He learned about the Middle Passage, about Africa, about white supremacy, about himself. He saw the world finally for what it was, a web of lies, stitched with oppression. And then he rejected his last name. Little wasn't his. It was the name of the white man who once owned his ancestors. He replaced it with X, a symbol for what was stolen. Out of the prison walked a new man, Malcolm X. Once free, Malcolm joined the Nation of Islam full-time. Under Elijah Muhammad, he preached fire. He lit stages, shook crowds, broke silence. His words weren't soft. Who taught you to hate yourself? We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. The rock landed on us. He was fearless. Audiences, especially young Black men, felt like they were breathing for the first time. But not everyone welcomed his message. He was called dangerous, a threat. The FBI watched him closely. The media twisted his words. Politicians labeled him a terrorist. He didn't flinch. And yet inside the nation, he began seeing cracks, hypocrisy, power struggles. When he found out Elijah Muhammad had fathered children out of wedlock, contrary to what he preached, Malcolm felt betrayed. He was too honest to stay quiet, so he walked away. He left the Nation of Islam in 1964 and embarked on a real pilgrimage, the Hajj. It changed everything. In Mecca, Malcolm saw something he never imagined. Muslims of every color, every race, praying side by side. He slept beside blonde-haired, blue-eyed men who called him brother. He stood in prayer with Africans, Asians, Europeans, all equal before Allah. He wrote home, "I have never witnessed such sincere hospitality and true brotherhood as practiced by people of all races and colors. It has forced me to rearrange much of my thought patterns previously held." From that moment, Malcolm no longer saw the struggle as just black versus white. It was right versus wrong, oppressor versus oppressed. He returned to America not just as Malcolm X, but as El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. His voice softened, not weaker, wiser, more global. He began to work with other civil rights leaders. He met with African leaders. He took America's racism to the world stage. But the enemies didn't go away. His home was firebombed. He received daily death threats. The FBI still watched, and former allies now called him a traitor. Still, he kept speaking. He spoke at Harvard, at Oxford, at churches, mosques, and rallies. His words were now messages of unity, truth, justice. On February 21, 1965, he stood on stage at the Audubon Ballroom in Harlem. As he began to speak, someone shouted. Then, gunfire, dozens of shots. He fell. His wife and daughters watched it happen. The room screamed, blood on the floor, chaos. He was just 39. The world lost a giant that day, but not his message, not his mission. Thousands came to his funeral. Millions now study his life. What makes Malcolm X unforgettable isn't that he was perfect, but that he changed, radically, fearlessly, from hate to love, from rage to mercy, from division to unity. He once said, "If you're not ready to die for it, put the word freedom out of your vocabulary." Another time, "I'm for truth no matter who tells it. I'm for justice no matter who it is for or against." And Islam is the only religion that removes the race problem. He was more than a leader. He was proof that people can transform, that pain can be power, that faith can be freedom, that one voice, if it speaks truth, can shake the world. So if you're watching this now, understand something. Malcolm X didn't die. His body fell, yes, but his fire, his mission, his truth, it's alive. Every time someone chooses courage over comfort, every time a man rises from prison and finds purpose, every time a woman teaches her child to love their skin, this isn't just a history lesson. It's a wake-up call. Will you hit snooze or will you rise? Because somewhere, Malcolm is still watching, still asking, who taught you to hate yourself? And more importantly, when will you start loving who you truly are?